Hi, this is Vic Mignogna, voice of Edward Elric in Full Metal Alchemist. Captain Kirk in Star Trek continues. And do you know what the best podcast is? I'm going to tell you. Five-ish Fangirls, yeah!
The tangents at Squeak continue all the way to episode 94 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And if you thought George R.R. Martin was bad, odds are he probably learned from these guys. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going around the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
This is Rich in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone. We're all here.
Yay!
And totally random, Brittany, you sounded really good there.
I did.
It sounded really good.
We were mic testing earlier, and yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Excellent.
Random thought. Anyway, so we are here and we are going to do what we do. Again, not a lot of news this week. It's been very slow. I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, which, considering San Diego Comic-Con is next month, that probably is the other shoe.
Yes.
Until then...
T-minus
yeah.
few weeks and counting.
Yeah, until then, we'll just keep going with these minor, I guess, drops of news. Announced this week from Disney, we knew this was coming, sort of, but we didn't know the exact details. It's been rumored for a while with Disney doing all these live-action remakes, you know, with Cinderella and the Jungle Book and the Maleficent movie and, you know,
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast and all that. The rumors have been floating around that they were going to do something with Mary Poppins. And then Emily Blunt's name was tied to that not long after the whole Mary Poppins thing started spinning around the internet. But it wasn't until earlier this week that Disney made the official announcement. Unlike a remake, this is actually going to be a sequel starring Emily Blunt as Mary Poppins. It's going to be released Christmas of 2018.
There's a couple years.
Yes,
there.
So we got a little bit of time. But what's interesting is, I guess they are going to be basing the screenplay somewhat on P.L. Travers' stories about Mary Poppins. But they are introducing a new character that apparently Disney is making up, who is he's a street lamplighter named Jack, but he's going to be played by Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton fame, as we were talking about Hamilton before we started recording.
Yeah, I listened to the whole soundtrack on Thursday, which is another story, but it's quite good. Thumbs up, and I'm kind of hard to please on these things, so if you haven't listened to it, if you're one of the 5 people on the planet who hasn't listened to Hamilton, you should
I would be one of them.
But,
Me too.
There's 2.
Okay, well, there's 2 we found. But anyway, yes,
yeah.
I'm still on the fence of the whole Mary Poppins sequel thing.
Yeah.
Although
apparently it's Mary Poppins going to come back to a now grown Jane and Michael has 3 children, and the exact description is, this new story will take place in Depression-era London and follows a now grown-up Jane and Michael Banks, who, along with Michael's 3 children, are visited by Poppins following a personal loss. She and her friend Jack then help the family rediscover the joy and wonder missing in their lives. Which
I wonder if the personal loss is going to be that Bert has passed away.
Well, and the way that's worded is, did Mary Poppins have a personal loss, or did the Banks children have a personal loss, hence the lost joy in their lives? the sentence itself is not very worded very well, but makes sense. So who knows? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. Mary Poppins is one of my absolute favorite Disney films, and I know how much Walt went through just to have the first Poppins movie made. We've I'm sure most people have seen Saving Mr. Banks. There's some creative storytelling there with how exactly all that went out, but for the most part, the whole P.L. Travers dragging her heels is fairly accurate, because she just didn't think anybody could do Mary Poppins justice. A lot of people are just questioning how Disney's able to pull this off, because apparently, supposedly, P.L. Travers in her will had a stipulation that nobody could get the rights to be able to make anything else. So what Disney managed to, I don't know.
This is pure speculation on my part, but it's kind of like, so when Once Upon a Time did their version of put Wizard of Oz into their part, they specifically did it based on the book, which is more or less in public domain. I mean, not quite. I mean, there's some fuzzy copyright shenanigans there, but they specifically did the book because they couldn't use the ruby slippers, because that's solely to the movie, and that's MGM. So they did silver slippers, which is actually in the book, and there was some other stuff there. So they could do it that way, but where these rights are a little more recent. Yeah, that's a good question about how. So maybe Disney is like doing solely what they own of Mary Poppins in their movie. I don't want to say universe, but I can't think of another word for it.
I don't know.
But my guess, I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's like, part of me just doesn't want to see this. Part of me is happy it's not a remake, and then part of me is not happy that they're doing it at all, and then part of me is kind of excited, and I'm like, ooh, I wonder if we can get cameos from Julie and Dick Van Dyke. Like, have him in the background somewhere.
Yes.
So
I don't know. I mean, it's with all these, remakes, reboots, whatever. I'm just kind of like, I kind of feel sad, because I'm like, I would like some original stuff, but then again, some of this is kind of fun. Like, I really liked the Cinderella live action they did. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I'm torn on all this. I feel like I shouldn't like this as much as I do, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so wait and see, I guess. Try to reserve judgment until Christmas 2018.
Which, I mean, there's plenty of other stuff to get excited about between now and then, so
yes,
we'll deal with it when it comes.
Yes, very much so. That is actually it for news we bothered to write down.
I'm sure there's more, it's just we haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, like we were saying, some of the stuff that's just trending right now is stuff we don't care about, like Game of Thrones. No offense to you Game of Thrones fans, but it's just not a cup of tea. I mean, I watch it, but not regularly, and I'm so far behind that I've been spoiled on everything, and I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll get around to finishing it and get caught up eventually, but it's not a priority. So
Game of Thrones, I was reading the books, and then partway through the third book, I just had to quit, because I'm like, this is going nowhere.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm sure the TV show's doing something more than the books ever do. But
it's surpassing the books apparently. So,
well,
George R.R. Martin can't write fast enough, but he doesn't care. He's like, just go ahead without me. George R.R. Martin is like that meme of, like, it's a squirrel or chipmunk and it's on the ground, its arms are outstretched, like, go on without me, and that's George R.R. Martin, and he's gesturing to HBO.
There is some speculation, because there are some author groups that I follow, and there is some speculation that he's just sick of writing them, so he's going to let HBO finish it, and he's like, okay, there's the story, I'm done.
Like, novelize that, and I'll sign some stuff, and we'll go with that.
Yeah, like, because he's not even really working on the book. That's like. Anyway, it's like it's people who like know about the publishing industry and like how all this works, and it's like, like the only reason that he's still relevant is because HBO's doing his stuff instead of him actually doing his stuff. So I'm like, okay, guys, I mean, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. Anyway, well, speaking of George R. Martin, kind of. Speaking of people who like to kill characters, that's our topic for this week. The Whedon brothers were doing this long before Khaleesi ever became the mother of dragons. Let's just say that.
Yeah, we're talking the Whedonverse this week.
Yes. So, which I have to admit, outside of Marvel and Dr. Horrible, I'm not that familiar with anything that either Joss or Jed has done. Although, I'm saying, we say the Whedonverse and people automatically think Joss Whedon, because if you look on, like, IMDb and Wikipedia, his list is longest. But his brothers, actually, Jed and Zach, are in the same business as well, and actually work side by side for some of the stuff.
As I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Jed more involved with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now?
Yes, Jed is
Joss
actually the showrunner for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Which is why I was able to use Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the photo challenge. Which makes it easy for me.
The main one I'm familiar with is, I mean, all the Marvel stuff, obviously, and then Firefly / Serenity is my other big Whedon thing. Buffy has like been on my list for like 10 years, and I've just never gotten around to it. I'm kind of
me too
resigned to the fact I will never get around to it. But I'm like, it's there.
I started getting caught up on like Buffy, but that kind of stalled a while ago.
Yeah. Like
I keep getting back to it, but it's just like, I have this that I want to get watched, and this I want to get watched.
Yeah.
Now, Holly, you're the one.
I want to get all of Star Trek watched before the new movie comes out.
Yeah.
Next month.
Like they got to stop putting stuff out that makes us want to watch other things.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Holly is our resident Buffy expert.
Buffy / Angel E.
Yeah.
And I discovered Buffy like tail end season 2 thanks to a college roommate, and then had to play catch up. And that's hard.
Which in the 90s that was a little hard to do.
Yeah, even you had to know someone who taped the stuff on VHS when it first aired. This was before the YouTube, Netflix, DVD. But thankfully Fox kind of took mercy and did some 3-pack videos that weren't complete seasons, but best of, and then when the DVD sets came out, I'm like, good.
Yeah, it was kind of in that interesting between time when people are like, oh, DVDs can hold a lot of data, or have a lot of room for stuff, so we can release full seasons of DVDs, and you don't have to have 10 VHS tapes sitting on your shelf of just the one thing.
Yeah.
So welcome to the age of DVD box sets.
The TV series day. Oh yeah, super nice when the box sets came out.
box sets are wonderful.
Yeah. What's funny is most people associate the beginning of the Whedonverse with Buffy, which I guess technically that's true, but he actually worked on stuff before that. That
Roseanne,
he worked on Roseanne. He co-wrote Toy Story, which I had no idea that he did that.
I remember the first part, my mind was blown. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, Toy Story? What? Oh, right. I actually think I remember someone saying that, but it wasn't until I saw that on the list on our show notes. I was like, oh yeah, I remember someone saying that. Like that was one of the things how he got his start in, just Hollywood screenwriting in general.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm like, that's pretty cool.
I remember reading something about that on Tumblr, and I didn't believe it, and I had to look it up.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't know, because I'd heard of Joss Whedon and the whole like Buffy and Firefly and things, and people were so mad that Firefly had gotten canceled, and I was like, well, and then I knew when the news came out he was going to direct Avengers. I'm like, well, maybe I should watch something of his before he does Avengers, so I kind of know what his style's like and kind of get ready for it. And I picked Firefly. Mostly because it was the shortest.
Yeah.
And that's what I could complete in time. But, like, watching it, I was just like, okay, why did, like, and I think I understand why they canceled it because, given the time and, the way Fox
But then
operates.
also with the caveat that Fox aired some of those episodes out of order, too.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, back then...
bitter, slightly.
Yeah. Well, back then, it was like they didn't really have linear storytelling in TV. It was like, it was, you had, Seinfeld and sitcoms, or even some procedural, like police procedurals. Like you could watch those in any order and you'd be fine. So I kind of wonder if like they like when Joss Whedon was getting this, like, okay, I have this story to tell, it has to go in order, and they're like, what do you mean it has to go in order? This does not compute. This isn't how we run things.
But then the thing is, though, they had the X-Files going at the same time, and Chris Carter, there was some of those episodes too that you kind of had to watch in order. I mean, sure, yeah, there's some procedural Monster of the Week stuff, but they did have some two-parters. So,
okay, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I guess my point is, like, Firefly was it was more ahead of its time than we realized. Like, watching it now, it's like, well, yeah, this is how we watch TV. We binge watch and we watch it in order. And, back then, I mean, some shows were doing that, but not all. And networks are kind of weird that way. I bet you if they tried to do a Firefly reboot, I mean, speaking of reboots and reimaginings and stuff like that, if they want to put it on Netflix or whatever, it could be done. Like, they could...
Considering Nathan Fillion's free? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Although, I have heard some very unsubstantiated rumors, but I've heard them from two different fairly credible sources, which... that he may be linked to the new Star Trek TV series, but nothing is confirmed. Like, nothing.
Which I wouldn't mind either. But
yeah. I mean, even if they wanted to do like what they did with Fuller House, I'm just using it as an example. Like, they have the older cast come back for a few episodes, but there's like a new cast. Like, maybe, I don't know, Kaylee has her own ship or something, and she's the captain, and so it's like, they're passing the torch to and then she has her own crew and stuff, and you could have Wash and Zoe's child part of it, or River is doing something. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Jane, yes, we need Jane. Jane needs to be there.
Yes.
I adore Adam Baldwin. Oh. I'll tell you later about the audiobook thing. I recently listened to him of narrating. It's a spoof, and he's actually the president of the United States. Like Adam Baldwin is president of the United States. That's why they got him to read the. It's a funny one. Anyway, back to Firefly. Or maybe Jane needs to be captain. I don't know. Somebody. I don't know. Well, that would. I don't know. He doesn't seem Jane. I don't know if he would be a very good leader. He's more of a point and shoot toward a guy.
Yeah, shoot first, ask questions later, toss them out the airlock before they have a chance to get the suit on. Yeah.
All while wearing a very cunning hat.
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched Firefly. I've seen it over Chauncey's shoulder when he watched it once. He watched the entire series.
I watched it a while ago.
But yeah, it was like back when we first got Netflix, and Chauncey watched it, and I saw bits over his shoulder, but I haven't actually sat down and watched it. I should, especially considering it's so short. There's not a whole lot of episodes to it.
Well, and then when I saw the movie, because I was like so sad when I was done watching the season. I'm like, but there's a movie, and then I found out that the movie was what season 2 would have been if they'd had a season 2, and I was like, I want more of this. I could like you can see how the episodes would split up, and they would obviously be more fleshed out in the movie, and I'm just like, why can't I have more? I feel like that. I feel like David Copperfield in
please sir, what's some more?
In Charles Dickens. Oh, please sir, I'd like some more. Or Oliver Twist. Yes, thank you. I'm like, was it Oliver Twist? It's been a long
one of
week,
those
guys.
Dickens novels about
Yes.
Yeah, something.
A Dickens novel about an orphan who.
Yeah, or an underprivileged
survives
child.
by
Something
his
like
wits.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I want some more. So.
Well,
you
cool
say?
thing is, too,
Yeah.
with this, with the Whedon series, I mean, look at David Boreanaz, who started out in Buffy. He's now on Bones. Sarah Michelle Gellar did great with movies. Christian Kane guest starred in Angel.
Yes.
And now he's done Leverage. He's done The Librarians. It's just.
Well, Nathan Fillion, he's gone on to.
He was in not Angel, but Buffy, the final season before he did Firefly. Allison Hannigan went from Willow to In How I Met Your Mother. I mean, it's just really
So
cool to see.
The Whedonverse is kind of like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yes, someday there'll be a 6 degrees of Joss Whedon. Like, and they worked on this, and they worked on this. And
yeah,
it's like,
the Wikipedia entry for Joss Whedon even has a list, a chart of the people that appear most often in the stuff he does. So there's quite a few.
I heard an interview with Nathan Fillion.
So.
Oh, I was gonna say I heard an interview once with Nathan Fillion, and they asked him, like, you do a lot of stuff with Joss Whedon, why is that? And he's like, well, when Joss Whedon calls, of course you say yes.
Yeah.
Or something to that effect. Or,
yeah,
because he just loves working with him so much.
Yeah.
Now, for our listeners who happen to be Shakespeare lovers, you might want to check out his version of Much Ado About Nothing. Craig's in it. Amy Acker, who played Winifred, who was also in Person of Interest. Alexis Denisov, who was married to Allison Hannigan, who was an angel. And what I've read in interviews, but sometimes after shoots or whatever, to kind of relax and get to know the actors, Joss would invite the actors to the house and they would sit and perform Shakespeare. Oh, to be a fly in that wall to watch some of those plays be done.
And then they got the idea, hey, let's film this and put it out for public viewing.
We wouldn't know anything about that, would we?
Am I right? Yeah.
Because the role of the sheriff in Much Ado About Nothing, and it is just absolutely hilarious. I've also recommended Kenneth Branagh's version of Much Ado About Nothing, too. It's got a stellar cast. So, sorry, it just happens to be one of my favorite Shakespeare plays to boot.
I love the Kenneth Branagh version. Love it.
It all ties back.
Oh, of course it does. It's like all of our favorite fandoms. There's always some kind of connection to everything else. It's like, this is why these people are, all of our favorites, because they all show up in the things that we love.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool.
Well, you would talk about, 6 degrees of Joss Whedon. You talk about Allison Hannigan goes from Buffy to How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother has Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris guest starred in the one episode of Glee that Joss Whedon directed, and then went on to star in Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, which Joss Whedon also did.
Let's talk about. Oh, go ahead, Holly.
Oh yeah, and then Glenn Quinn, who played Doyle in Angel the series, was one of the boyfriends on Roseanne. And of course, we know Joss Whedon helped on Roseanne, so on.
It's all there.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, Evil League of Evil.
Dead
Horse.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, because kind of how that came about. Because if any of you remember, or any of our listeners remember, it was late 2007 into 2008 when they had the writers' strike that basically, I hate to say it, killed Heroes. I mean, that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some others, but that one I think suffered the most.
Yeah.
And so there was basically no new stuff getting put out. I mean, there's a lot of reality TV and stuff going on. Yeah. But what Joss Whedon did, and that's how we get Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, is he's like, well, I could still make things. I mean, we'll have to do this on the cheap, but we can put stuff out on the internet. And so they did. So he wrote and got people to star in this, web series about, a supervillain trying to get accepted into the Evil League of Evil, and we get Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog with music. And it's all online, and I'm like, I don't know that was the first web series, but darn if it wasn't groundbreaking. It's like, oh yeah, we really don't need the big Hollywood machine to be the sole provider of our entertainment. We can do it ourselves. Mm-hmm. I'm like, at the time, that was kind of revolutionary.
Yeah. Well, and Whedon bankrolled it, spent $200,000, and they did it in like a 2-week span where he was on break from doing the Avengers, working on stuff for the Avengers, and other stuff for Marvel. So it was
yeah.
It's crazy. It went.
Oh, and he's done, speaking of that, he's done comics as well.
Yeah, he's a big comic fan, and he's written several, and has his own company, I think, too, with his brothers, that have some original comics, and then he's also written stuff for Marvel, and he's written Buffy comics and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So. Joss is a self-labeled workaholic, to a fault. It affects his health. He's a well, let me find the quote here from him. No, that's not. That was wrong. Much Ado About Nothing was made while he was on vacation from the Avengers, which again is a workaholic. He says he said because he was on 2-week vacation from the Avengers after making the pilot for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and in pre-production for Age of Ultron. They made Much Ado About Nothing. He said,
so he, could take a break, go to the beach or something. No, we're gonna film something.
Yeah. He said it's actually a problem. Sometimes it's adorable and sometimes it's not. Not to get all dark and weird, but it is something I need to address. Which is that why now he's pulled away from doing, heading any more of the MCU movies.
Which I think actually might be a good thing, because it's like, you don't want him to get burned out. Maybe if he wants to come back and do another one later, that'd be great. But like, the Russo brothers did quite good with Civil War, and they're doing Infinity War. So I'm like, let's let some other people have a chance to see what they can do with it.
Exactly. So
it's a big cinematic universe. There's room for everyone to do something.
Yeah.
If they want to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No. But I think if you look at Joss's, like his list, his resume of stuff he's done, that it actually, something like Buffy, where, Buffy is the center of the universe, obviously. The show's named after her, but you have the Scooby Gang, so you've got a core of regular characters that, you see in pretty much every episode, and then doing something like Dr. Horrible, and even something like Roseanne, where you've got this ensemble cast that for the Avengers, he would have made sense to do that, because something like the Avengers had not really been done yet with that that type of ensemble of people. Especially stars. Well, it's really easy to do Iron Man because it's all Robert Downey Jr. with, here's Gwyneth Paltrow and here's, some other people. But with the Avengers, it was, we're bringing them together. It's Robert Downey Jr. It's Chris Hemsworth. It's Chris Evans. It's all these big names and like, all these big characters.
And all these people had already headlined their own movies.
Yeah.
And then they're bringing them together, and it's like, how's this going to work, and how are you going to balance, all these different characters, make sure they get their good enough screen time.
Mm-hmm.
And First Avengers, it worked.
Yes.
I mean, there's still some people who kind of argue that Age of Ultron wasn't quite as balanced. But, I mean, he kind of set the blueprint there, and I would argue it was followed with Civil War, where, like, we talked about how, even characters that, were brand new, like Black Panther, got his own story arc, even though he was part of the group, but he wasn't one of the main characters, but we got a good sense of who he is and who his character is, and I would contend that, Joss Whedon kind of set that standard with Avengers and said, okay guys, this is how you do it. Go do it with the other movies.
Yeah.
And they did it. And I mean, the Russo brothers do that as well. They have ensemble. They've done ensemble shows as well, but
yeah. And that's what we said when we were discussing. Yeah, when we did our discussion about Civil War, I'm like, because Civil War, leading up to it, and they kept making these announcements about, which characters are going to be in it, and then it's like they added Spider-Man in the mix, and I'm like, holy crap, there's going to be all these heroes. It's like, how is this going to make this work? And then I'm thinking forward to like Infinity War, and how many more characters we still have to be introduced, and even some that have already been introduced but not been brought in with the Avengers yet. I'm like, Infinity War is going to be bulging at the seams. How are they going to make this work? But then after watching Civil War and seeing what the Russo brothers did with it, like, yeah, they can pull this off. It's like Joss helped lay the groundwork. This is how you do a superhero ensemble movie. Take note, DC. And the Russo brothers, I'm sure looked at that and went, okay, yes, and applied that to, Winter Soldier and then Civil War, and now, I'm less concerned about Infinity War because of that groundwork that Joss Whedon laid.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot to thank him about that. So even if he does like to kill off people. Like Coulson. Thank goodness Coulson did not stay dead.
Coulson come back. Yeah.
Yes, Coulson
came
back thanks to Joss Whedon. It's like one of the few times Whedon kills someone off and then brings him back. So, like, Joss is, he knows that people like to bring up the fact that he's, one of the original fandom favorite killers, and he kind of takes the approach that George R.R. Martin's kind of taken as well. That's like, death is not fair. People are going to die, even if they do happen to be a fan favorite or seemingly untouchable. If it fits the story, it's nobody's safe. So, which, as we've seen on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., he and his...
Yeah.
So Joss helped with the pilot and helped get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. off the ground, but his brother, Jed, is the showrunner essentially for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and obviously the apple does not fall far from the tree with these two. So, poor Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Although I think so far, there hasn't been anyone that I'm like, that's unforgivable. Quite. I haven't watched a lot of the other Whedon stuff. I know enough about Buffy to know, with Buffy's mother, that was kind of like the first stab in the heart, I think, for a lot of people. Unfortunately, Holly stepped away because I know she's our Buffy expert, but Holly had to step out, and we've lost her expertise. But I think most people, unless you're just so far removed from the internets, that most at this point people probably so involving killing off Buffy's mother. From what I understand, that a lot of people took that really, really hard, and were not happy about it.
Yeah. And and it's kind of come to the point, like with shows killing off beloved characters, and I guess it's still kind of a gut punch, but I'm like, I would be surprised if there was a show that actually didn't kill off. I know I'm being facetious. There are other ones, but it's just kind of gotten to the point where they a lot of shows do that a lot, and I'm not saying that Joss was the first one, but he is a very notable example of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say something else, and then my mind just went poof, blank, gone. Hopefully, it'll come back to me.
Whoops!
It was in that same vein, and now it's gone. Oh well. But yeah, that's like, okay, I can't remember it, so never mind. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. Your thought train took off while you were still standing at the station.
Yeah. Like, okay, bye guys.
Yeah. So. So. Yeah, that's I kind of feel like we're picking on Joss, but he's the one with the longest list of stuff he's done, so it's easy to pick on him.
And it kind of feels like he's the one that gets it all started, and then his family kind of keeps it going in his absence while he does other things. And I think also, this is kind of what I was going to say, it's not just that he kills off characters. I mean, I don't want to say anything about Game of Thrones, mostly because I'm not really into it, like we said earlier. And it's kind of like, sometimes but it seems like, you know, when people talk about it, it seems like they're just killing him off just to say, hey, look how shocking we could be. But with Joss, he also like makes you care about him. It's like, I'm trying to think of an example right now, but like it's okay. I'll use Wash as an example, and I guess we should just sound the spoiler horn, but you know it's been out for
the statute of
10,
limitations
15 years.
is yeah.
Yeah, statute of limitations is out.
Yeah.
So you know, in Serenity, when Wash is doing his Watch Me Soar, I'm a leaf on the wind, watch me soar, and he's piloting them through the reavers that are coming after them, and they get on the other side, and this is like, he's so triumphant, and this is his great, amazing thing he's done, and then it all comes crashing down, the big sharp thingy comes through the window and stabs him, and like just earlier he and Zoe were talking about, you know, having a baby and starting a family and all that kind of thing. So it's like, it's not just, oh, I killed this character. It's you care about this character, and you know there were things that they're gonna do something with their life, something important, and now they're gone and they can't do it. And I think that's more the gut punch is not that they're dead. It's like you cared about them first, and then they were killed off, and it's like, why would you do that? And then, you know, all their friends and family are left to mourn, and you're mourning along with them because that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that wasn't as coherent as I thought it was going to be, so
It was fine.
okay. I tried.
I know what you mean.
We try to be eloquent on this show, but
we're talking about killing off fan favorites, and they're fan favorites for a reason. They're our favorites because we care about them.
Yes,
mm-hmm.
and you know, you want them to be happy. You know the internet is full of fan fiction, like, you know, character A and character B are together and they get married and have kids, or you know they have a nice little house somewhere and it's peaceful and they live a nice quiet life, and it's like, well, that's nice for fanfic, but that doesn't serve the show very well. But you know, you still want them to you want them to be happy and peaceful and out of danger, while at the same time we like watching them be in dangerous situations on the show because it's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a conundrum, yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think that just goes to show, you know, the talent of writing and creating, you know, compelling characters that make the people who watch these programs
Mm-hmm.
care about them. You know, you take something like, you know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., for example, and, you know, most of the cast is, well, I want to say most because the cast keeps evolving, but, you know, at least half of the cast they're all original characters made up for the show. They're not existing Marvel characters, you know, like Skye is now Daisy Johnson. She comes from the comics. Ward became Hive is from the comics, that sort of thing. But, you know, people like Coulson and May and Fitzsimmons, oh, Lord Fitzsimmons, you know, it Fitzsimmons, you know, if something were to happen to, you know, any of them, especially Fitzsimmons,
every year we're like,
yeah,
don't touch Fitzsimmons,
yeah.
just don't do it.
It's the same idea, you know. It would be Serenity all over again if something, and it almost did, you know, when Simmons gets sucked into the monolith, and we're all like, ah! You know,
what did you do?
You know, and all of a sudden we're cursing, you know, someone with the last name Whedon because that's what they do.
They're like, we're going to make you love these characters, and then we're going to make you hate us.
Yes.
That's how this works.
Exactly. We may not kill them off, but you're still going to hate us. You're going to be taking us off your Christmas card list. No. But, you know, yeah. So, but that's, no. Yeah, we when we were discussing the the finale, the most recent finale of Agents of Shield, and I mentioned that there's certain characters I didn't care so much for, and I'm not sad that they're gone. And if you watch Agents of Shield, you know who I'm talking about. But then there are other ones, like the good ship Fitzsimmons. I'm like, do not let this ship sink. Please, oh please.
Yes. Well,
So.
it's like, I think with Fitzsimmons especially, because that's how we were introduced to them. Because in the very first episode, that when Coulson's putting together his team, and Ward's coming in, and he's kind of trying to be all skeptical and whatever, and Coulson mentions Fitzsimmons, and we think, oh, he's talking about one person whose last name is Fitzsimmons. They're like, no, there's Fitz and there's Simmons. I'm like, these two came with their own ship name. We must,
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
and they're adorable, and we love them. And then they.
Yeah.
Then the writers make us fear for their lives.
Exactly. No. I think they're onto us though, considering there was a pretty obvious wink to the Fitzsimmons shippers and the fandom when Gemma and Fitz were having their discussion, and Gemma's all like, it feels like the universe is trying to keep us apart. I'm like, you have no idea. Their last name is Whedon.
Yes, if the creators of, if the universe's last name Whedon, you're not far off.
Yeah. Very much so. So I think they're onto us. Agents of Shields. This time's Firefly, I guess.
Yeah. Although it got its second and third season, so.
Yes,
anyway,
that's true. That is very true. So I'll just have to wait and see what the Whedon brothers bring for us in the future. Obviously, Agents of Shield has been renewed for another season, so we know we're
getting that.
We're getting that. Whether Joss decides to do another MCU film, it's up to his therapist. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe that might even be why we haven't seen a reboot of Firefly. Because this is what gets me about Firefly, is that so many people for so long have kept this going. Like, I can't think of another show that's over 10 years old that I didn't watch when it first aired that I would go back and watch and be like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. And it's because people just like the fans who saw it and loved it and keep telling people about it by word of mouth, and I'm just like, why is there, I mean, I know there's comics and graphic novels that they've kept Firefly going. I'm like, why is this not, why is there not more of this, or even talking about anything more of it? Like, I'm like, Fox, are you really that dense that you don't understand what, I'm sure Fox has the rights to it still.
Probably.
I'm like, I'm like, do you not understand what this, people would pay big money to see, a revival of the show, even if it's not with all of the original cast, or just something. I'm like, this is gonna be, something you guys could do something with, and I don't know why you're not. I mean, even because there was,
well, especially these days with stuff, with shows being exclusive on Netflix and on Hulu. It's like you don't even have to worry about finding space on your network's schedule.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want, for crying out loud, CBS is doing a Star Trek, a new Star Trek show, and they're going to put it online only. I mean, why can't you even figure that out, guys?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I'm like, it baffles me, and I know there's probably some legal mumbo jumbo that's keeping them from doing something new with it, but I'm like, there's got to be a way. There's just got to be a way for them to do something, and then maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Oh.
That's just one of my biggest questions in the world. It's like we can get a remake. We can get more Ninja Turtle movies. We can get a remake for Ghostbusters. We can get a remake of I don't know. I saw a thing about they're remaking, or they're doing a modern version of Count of Monte Cristo the other day, or they're doing a sequel to Full House. They're doing all these different things. Like, why in the world does nobody think, oh, let's do a sequel, reboot, remake, whatever of Firefly? And make sure Joss Whedon is involved, because duh.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my little soapbox, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's not that. Obviously, fans want it, and that I'm sure that there's Joss would probably like to be able to grow the Firefly universe more, and the cast, what characters were still alive at the end of Serenity, if they some of them are probably more than willing to come back, but it's I'm sure there's a lot of just logistics, because even if Fox was willing to either give up the rights or be behind it, back it with the rights, that you still got to come up with a script and a plot and all that sorts of stuff too. So unfortunately,
I'm just griping.
Yeah, we all go Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka, and I don't care how, I want it now.
I want it now, Daddy. Yes. I want a pony.
Yeah.
Why can't I have it now?
I want a golden goose.
I want a golden goose. Make the man give me a golden goose, Daddy.
Exactly.
That is my best Veruca Salt impression.
Hey, it'll work. So, yeah, just who knows? Like I said, we'll have to wait and see what the future brings us as far as the Whedonverse is concerned. So,
and maybe it's because Joss is just opposed to doing reboots or something. I don't know. Maybe he's kind of like, I did that. Now I want to do something different.
I don't know.
Anyway, but yes, I love Firefly, and if you haven't seen Firefly, you need to. It is an opportunity.
Yeah. I have it on DVD.
I watched it on Netflix, and then I went out and bought the DVD.
I got the DVD cheap somewhere, I think. It was when I was in college. They were selling. There's a DVD vendor that came in and sold all this stuff, and I picked up Firefly there.
That was a good choice.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the fun thing, like we were talking about ensemble cast, because I'm like, when I first started watching Firefly, I was like, I don't know that I like Captain Mal quite yet. Like, but give me a minute. Like, I'll give this an episode. And there were a couple other things, I haven't watched it recently. Now I'm talking about it, like I want to rewatch it now, and it's only 13 episodes. I can do it. But there were like some things that like Captain Mal says, and some things that I can't remember. But there's things that characters say, I'm like, oh, I don't know that I like this so much. But then like Kaylee comes in, or Jane, or even Shepherd Book comes in. I'm like, oh wow, I like these characters, and like, this is what I like about this, is like they're all very distinct, different characters, like with their own personalities and opinions, and they can all exist in the same show, and get along with each other, even understanding that because at first Mal and Shepherd Book don't get along, because Mal is like he's very not religious, and he's and there's a good reason for all this, like that he's very, very cynical and very, because because of the war and things, and and if you find out later in a graphic novel that Book, he had his own brush with war, and he decided he was going to turn around and become a priest because of it. I'm paraphrasing, but it's like, these characters, they all seem so diametrically opposed to each other, but they still come together, and they're still like, yeah, we're friends, like we can get along, for the sake of the job or whatever's going on at the time. And and Mal, like he's been in the war, and he had his ideals, and his ideals basically got stomped on, and he's just very doesn't want to do anything to do with it, but he gets dragged back into it anyway because that's what his character is like he sees injustice and things going on, and that gets into the movie. And like Haley is like she seems like, oh, she's just this sweet, cute little mechanic, but she too, like she has her own opinions and values and things that she thinks are important. Same with Jane. I mean, Jane, at first you just think he's a bruiser, a big dumb bruiser that he's just going to come in and shoot stuff up, but then he gets a hat from his mother, and it's like, don't insult his hat because it makes him look very cunning. And that is like my favorite line from him. It's like, I think it makes you look cunning, don't you? And nobody disagrees with him because that's his hat that his mother gave him. Don't insult it. You insult it at your own peril. And even after a while, even Jane kind of shows he has a soft side, like with River, because at first he kind of thinks she's just crazy, but then she says things or does things, he kind of softens him up. And it's just like all these people that seem like they're so different, and yet they're friends. They all kind of become a family almost. And I'm like, that's what I love the most about Firefly specifically. And I'm sure maybe this is, we see this in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a bit, because, when Skye was first introduced, and she didn't want anything to do with it, now, they're her family. So Simmons, like, she goes and talks to Simmons like they're sisters. Like, they don't say that specifically, but that's the feeling you get. And I'm like, I think that's why the Whedonverse, like, works so well, is that he just has this knack of putting all these way different personalities together, and they all work, and you believe that they work.
Mm-hmm.
Even though when you first see it, you're like, how's this gonna even, like, there's no way, but then it does.
Yeah, there is a very family element to a lot of. I mean, obviously Roseanne was about a family.
Yep.
So, but then Firefly was very family. Buffy was family-esque. I mean, we joke about the Scooby Gang, but I mean they were a family, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're spies, but they're family. So.
Mm-hmm. A family of spies.
Yes, they're
with some with superpowers.
Exactly. Some of them are superheroes, which makes them really awesome. So, which is I think why with the Whedon products that we become emotionally attached, is because it's not just it's not like a procedural cop drama or something where it's just, these are the facts, ma'am, that sort of thing. It's just, the characters are family, or they either literally are family in some cases, and in some cases they're, just a built family, of co-workers and friends who come together and become like a family. And I think people really in general are attracted to that sort of thing. It's like, oh, they're a family. I relate to them. I could be part of that family if they existed in real life.
Yep.
So, I think that's the power behind it. It's like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're family first, spies second. And I would join in a heartbeat if they actually existed. I'm not physically fit at all. I have all sorts of prior injuries that come back to haunt me on a regular basis. But
you could learn how to be a hacker.
Exactly.
You could do it from afar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could learn to Maybe I could learn to fly a Quinjet or something. I don't know. So.
Hey, that can work.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I guess we will wrap up. So,
dear listeners, thank you for listening to this episode, and we're glad you've joined us. And if you want to send us feedback or discuss your favorite Whedon property, because there are so many and we didn't get to all of them, I'm sure, you can send us feedback at our email address, 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also find us at our website, which is the 5ishfangirlspodcast.blogspot.com, and you can find and at our website you can find links to our Facebook page, which is 5ish Fangirls. Also Twitter, same thing, 5ish Fangirls. We are also on Tumblr and Pinterest and iTunes and YouTube and Instagram. Instagram's getting to be a big deal, I'm noticing, just in general. And I said YouTube already. You can also find us on Patreon, and as always, we thank our Patreon supporters for letting us continue to squee and all these other things that we do here on this podcast. I'm glad you enjoy it. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber and would like to become one, you can do that at our website as well. And also download us on iTunes. And we're also on Google Play. So if you don't have an Apple podcatcher podcast thing and you have an Android, use Google Play and you can find us there. So that's a good way to do it too. It will automatically be downloaded into your favorite podcasting listening app, and you can enjoy to your heart's content.
Very
so,
much
as
so.
always, thank you for listening.
Yes. So, and a little note. Speaking of Patreon and our fabulous supporters, we know that Patreon can be not the best way for people to support us. Just, you know, you can do a one-time donation if you want, but
you can do recurring monthly.
You can do recurring monthly, but even then, that's not always viable for some people. I don't think I've posted on our Facebook wall yet, but if you go to our blog, you will now see in the lovely list on the side, all the links to Facebook and YouTube and all that. I over the course of the last week have set us up with a Amazon store.
Nice.
I'm still working out the kinks and how all it actually works. But if you're one of our listeners and you're someone that was going to buy something through Amazon anyway, if you want to go and click the link on our website first, I'm not sure if you can purchase anything off Amazon.
You can. The way it works is like as long as you go to Amazon through that link, even if you don't buy what we have listed there and you choose something else that you want to buy, it could be a blender or something for all we do get a portion of that. So anything from our links, if you click our links first, and it's not any extra, the price isn't any extra, just Amazon sends us a little something after you've used that link to get there. So that's an excellent way to do that.
I have set up, there are some stuff listed. I tried to do a nice variety of shirts and collectibles and other stuff from various fandoms that we cover. So there's Doctor Who and Disney and Star Wars and all that. But since you can buy,
Amazon.
but really, since you can, as long as you click that link, you can buy whatever you want, and it'll help support us. So we're still in the trial period. Apparently, we get like a 6-month grace period, and as long as somebody buys something, we'll get to keep it. So someone in the next 6 months needs to buy something, please.
So if you're doing, I know it's wedding season.
Yes.
I went to a bridal shower yesterday, but yes, it's wedding season. If they're registered at Amazon, go to our website first, then click on Amazon, then go buy something for them on their registry. Yep. Everybody wins. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Amazon gift cards work as well too. So if you need to buy someone a gift, don't know what to get them, you can just do a gift card, and that qualifies as well. So So I just wanted to give people another option to, if they wanted,
that's a
if
good
they wanted
option.
to
I was
support the
actually-
show, but couldn't necessarily, just, do the Patreon thing and just do straight up money. But it's like, if you need to buy something anyway, it would benefit us, and you still get to make your purchase. So.
And yeah, like I said, it doesn't cost anything extra. I was actually going to suggest this, so I'm glad Rachel's ahead of the game with that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it too in the back of my mind.
Yeah. It required some research to figure out how exactly it worked, but as far as I can tell, it is working properly. So if you go to it and find that it's not working, please let me know, and I will try and figure it out. So, setting it up is easily enough. It's getting the link on your website. So I didn't necessarily just wanted to do the straight up just link. You had the option of using code to actually have like the storefront appear, but I couldn't get the code to work. So hence it's just a link to Amazon right now. So, or you can click on the picture of the gift cards too. That'll work as well. So.
As with anything we do, it is always it's a work in progress.
Always. Always. So, but yeah. Wanted to put that out there so people were aware that is now an option. So I don't shop from Amazon that often, but once in a blue moon I do. I guess I'll have to make sure to do it through. So we get the points or whatever.
And I buy a lot of Kindle books, so
yeah,
a lot of ebooks, so that might be something good.
Yeah. Yeah. Doctor Who's not on TV. You need to buy the DVDs. Just saying. Anyway, so there's that. And of course, all of our other places we are on the social medias. Schedule-wise, we will be off next week because I have family coming to visit and weekend, and I'm actually going to a concert next Sunday evening. I'm going to see the Monkees. How retro is that? I'm so excited.
Awesome.
So my in-laws are
their new album, fantastic.
It is. I
haven't
listened to it on
yet.
YouTube, and I really like it. So. So I'm quite excited for that. I told Chauncey the other day, I said I didn't even realize going to see the Monkees was something I wanted until it became an option.
When I was younger, I had a chance to see the Monkees twice.
Nice.
Once twice. Once they were playing at a hotel in a city close to me, and then the second time I saw them, it was in Milwaukee at Marcus Amphitheater, and Weird Al Yankovic opened for them.
Nice.
Yes,
that is amazing.
I mean, we're talking when I was grade school, but this was the time when it was Nickelodeon, the Nick at Night, where they were showing all the old TV shows.
Yeah.
To Get Smart, the Lancelot Link, the Monkees. So I was just like, ooh.
Yeah.
And it was the time when their Pool It album came out, and Nickelodeon was kind of helping them promote that. And Mom and Dad were like, okay, we'll go. So I was so happy.
Nice.
My first venture into the music fandom, besides the Beatles.
Nice.
Oh, I love it. So that's what I will be doing instead of us recording a new show next week.
Well, enjoy and have fun.
It just happens to fall on a Sunday night, so I will be otherwise occupied. So, but I'm sure I'll post pictures and videos on Instagram too. So stay tuned to that. And then the following weekend is Indie PopCon, which I'm super excited about. So our show in 2 weeks will be my PopCon recap, assuming I still have a voice come Sunday night.
So, if any of our other listeners are going to PopCon, and I mean, because Rachel will be there, but she can't be everywhere.
Right.
Send us in feedback about your experience and the things you did.
Yeah. And if you want to, if you want to try and cross paths with me, tweet me. Or post something on our Facebook page, because that's going to be the easiest place for me to see it. So the only place I know for sure I will be, unless something changes, is that Sunday of the convention at 1:00. I will be on the podcast stage, the live podcasting stage, just like I was last year. I was in one of the first slots of the convention last year. I'm in one of the later slots this year, and I am having a friend of mine who is a comic artist who I went to college with. She is going to join me as my guest. So we will post the, and we'll get the audio from that, and that will go up probably as a separate thing for y'all to listen
Extra
to.
squee?
Yeah, some little extra squee. So, and we'll see what else, what other kind of shenanigans I can get myself into. So we'll see how the con goes this year. Supposedly they've hammered out the kinks that they had last year with the issues with all the YouTubers. So supposedly this year they're hoping it'll go more smoothly. Not that it really affected me last year, but depending on how things go, we'll see. But I'm excited. I love PopCon, and it's an amazing convention. And one of these days, I will get you 4 ladies here, and we will go to PopCon together.
I would love that. You have spoken very highly of it, and I'm like, I want to go, because as much as I love Salt Lake Comic Con, I would love to try other cons and just to see how they compare. Because that would be a lot of fun.
We could get into.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a couch.
Oh, yes.
I've got a couch. My mom's down the street. She's got a spare bedroom and a couch. So, between the 2 locations, so we could, as long as y'all don't aren't too picky.
We'll all bring our sleeping bag and our teddy bears.
Exactly. So buy stuff from our Amazon store so we can make this happen, people.
I just bought a couple Kindle books going through our link, so you'll have to let me know if it worked.
Okay.
I was just testing it out, but I was like, there were a couple of books I had my eye on, so I was like, I'll take those. This will be a good time to test this out.
Sweet.
Anyway. So if you're shopping on Amazon, visit our website, use our link to go there, and that'll be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, cool. All right, well, Chrissy's got to be somewhere, so it's...
I've got a friend I got to go pick up at the airport here in a little bit, so...
Yeah, well, let's...
Must away.
Yeah, so we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Dunga saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City saying goodnight.
This is good evening. This is Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Speak to y'all in 2 weeks. You have been listening to the 5-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.